Good evening, good afternoon. Now, is it afternoon in the States with you,
Just
Eric?
just
Just,
barely. Yeah.
just okay. It's 6 o'clock here in the UK on Thursday, the 21st of May. I don't know why I keep saying the date because it goes on YouTube and people can watch on YouTube, but it's always nice to know roughly what time of the year. Hence the light that's coming through behind my screen of the sun, which has resurfaced, which is lovely. So Eric and I, Eric being one of the stalwarts of Self Pub Fest, I've been here a few times. It's always lovely to see you. As our so far solo US contributor, I'm hoping that other people will join you, will join us from your side of the pond. And so we're here to talk about newsletters and Substack. And I came up with this topic to encourage me to get my newsletter back up and running because I think I have about 150 people who have either received newsletters in the past, and that's about 3 years ago, and have since signed up thereafter. So I probably hit the 200, I think, by now. However, I haven't sent one out for various family reasons. Two bereavements, dementia diagnosis, and four movings of house, two of mine and two family. And so I've been a little bit busy. But now I'm back in, as of earlier on this year, back in author mode. So I'm hoping to resurrect it. And chatting behind the scenes before I hit the record, Eric has lots to say on the topic of newsletters and Substack. So I'm going to hand over to you, Eric, and introduce yourself and explain what you write and how newsletters and the joy that is Substack features in your authorship.
All right. So Eric Goebelbecker in the US. I've got three science fiction books already independent published, and I'm writing a fourth book in a new series that is fantasy. I'm also happen to be publishing that book one chapter per week on Patreon.
Okay, good.
And that does kind of feed into how I feel about Substack and newsletters and so forth.
Right.
The Patreon, the silence is deafening, but I'm hoping to work on that a bit.
Okay. Is this
Uh,
Patreon? Some people, if they do a podcast, they use Patreon to you get extras and pay for it. Is that how it works for you?
that's well, no, and
Okay.
traditionally that was Patreon's model was more toward you when you join when you follow somebody you pay.
Okay.
They relatively recently introduced the idea of following for free,
Okay.
which I think was a big improvement. And for my particular setup right now is if you just join, follow for free, you get each chapter as it comes out.
Okay.
If you want to go back more than 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I should know this, shouldn't I? It's mine.
That's all
Then
right.
you have to join to get full access to the archives. And I actually swiped that model from a British writer on Substack who was publishing short fiction on Substack,
Okay.
Simon Jones. I
Yeah.
almost said Alex Jones, and I know that's somebody completely different. I think it was Simon Jones. Um, so um, when it comes to newsletter, so I have a newsletter. I've got about 760 subscribers.
Okay.
I'm using a service called Button Down.
Oh, I haven't looked
Um,
across that one before.
right, they're small, and honestly, I kind of like that. Like when I send an email in, I'm usually speaking to the founder. I don't even know if he
Wow.
has any staff.
Right.
Honestly, to run a small newsletter service, you don't really need staff, but
No,
again, he might. He might.
automated.
Button Down is not the cheapest service by far, but
Okay.
it has some of the best automations. And for me, as an independent author, you want automations. So
Mhm.
if you join my email list, you get a novella.
Okay.
That's my reader magnet. And that's important, I think, for as an author, here's some of my writing. Go right ahead. And
Mm.
of course, in the back of the novella, there's links to buy my books and so on and so forth.
Sure.
And one of the reasons why I don't think Substack is good for authors, at least as your only email list,
Mm.
is Substack has no way to do that. It has no automations. It is an entirely closed system.
Right.
And I think as an author, MailerLite, MailChimp, which is kind of jump the shark. That's
Mm.
I don't know if you guys know the statement jump the shark. That means it's no longer very good.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I think a lot of people have gone because I used to be MailChimp and I'm heading
yeah,
over towards MailerLite. But before I press the button, I should be looking at different options. So this is really
right.
useful for
Yeah.
me as a
Yeah,
getting it back.
Intuit bought MailChimp, and Intuit is just second only to Adobe in terms of abusing its users.
Right.
So, um, Jump the Shark, by the way, comes from Happy Days. It was the most popular show in America in the 70s, and
Happy
then
days.
in the
Oh,
final season, Fonzie jumped over a shark while on water skis, and that people say that's when the show stopped being good. So
oh,
that's why we say when something jumps the shark, it's no longer good.
wow.
My exercise roller keeps showing
Well,
up.
I thought it looked like a bit like a baseball bat that you got it ready to when every time you mention a
Yeah,
Substack, you'll get out this baseball
yeah,
bat.
yeah. But that's one of the reasons why Substack is very much a closed system. You can download your list anytime you want to a comma separated file. That's
Mhm.
great. That's cool. There are services that won't even do that.
Right.
But one of the many reasons is it's been years now and they have done nothing to integrate with other services, I think, other than maybe they've made it easy to share on Twitter, which
Okay.
why are you using Twitter?
Yeah.
Anyway, so um, but now I know MailerLite is very popular, and I looked at MailerLite briefly.
Mm.
Um, I will say the main reason why I liked Button Down several years ago when I joined is I can draft in Markdown. And as a programmer, I find typing in Markdown very fast. That's not why you should pick an email service. But what
Is that like a HTML
it's
markdown?
similar to HTML, it's even a little easier. Um, but for example, Button Down works with BookFunnel. If you
Okay.
are going to be an independent author, you want to be using BookFunnel to distribute that reader magnet.
Yes.
As it stands with Substack, you would have to go, oh, Fred at foo.com subscribed. I need to email him my book.
Oh yeah.
What if you go on vacation for a week? Now the guy's like, hey, where's my book?
Mm.
So um, the other service that BookFunnel has that, and I have to say, out of my 700 odd subscribers, probably half have come through BookFunnel list swaps
Okay.
or BookFunnel promotions. So people are constantly advertising promotions on BookFunnel where for science fiction authors or fantasy authors, and I'm sure other genre have that, where you whoever it is puts together a page with the free books.
Mm-hmm.
People can go there, click on it, get your book, and sign up for your list.
Yeah.
I've gotten 20 new subscribers in the past 3 weeks from a promotion that I'm in,
Gosh, that's good.
and they've
I did one
stayed.
a little while ago, and I didn't do it as a newsletter. I just put it on my blog,
Right.
and I didn't notice any difference. But it was lovely. I'm kind of getting back to because I
Yeah.
was prolific. I was everywhere,
Mhm.
um, and I think we've known each other for quite a while. And I
Right.
feel like I did have a probably, I would say a decade. It feels like a decade where I wasn't doing anything, wasn't, I was just so consumed by dealing with family stuff that you know what it's, well, I mean, you are a full-time author now, but back in the day, it's kind of everything else. You have to take care of everything else. And then, oh, actually, maybe I should do some writing.
Right. Yeah.
Um, everything,
Yeah.
there are priorities,
Right. Right.
but we should treat writing as a job.
Definitely. And I've gotten diverted. I have a outline of a chapter here that it's stupid virtual background that's been sitting here for a week waiting for me to write chapter 13 of the book I'm
Right.
working on. Fortunately, I have a queue set up in Patreon, so I don't have to freak out until next week.
Yes.
But
Oh, that's a great idea. That's very Dickensian.
right.
He
Yeah.
did it, didn't he, in a magazine, had a chapter per.
Well, and that's what this other author, Simon Jones, wrote about
Mm,
is that, of War of the Worlds, the book that my three current published books are a sequel to, was also serialized.
right. H.G.
A
Wells.
lot of, all the Sherlock Holmes, one of the most famous fantasy mystery brands, whatever you want to call it, ever. Those were all serialized in not Punch, but I just listened to the Rest is History Club, and they talked about
Right.
Holmes. Um, So I think there's a market for that. And getting back to Substack, a lot of authors, there are several authors, and I read them that are serializing via Substack.
Okay.
I find the reading experience for Substack pretty dreadful. I think
Right.
Patreon via their app is better. But
Yeah.
to get back to Substack, why don't I just trash it? Like, let's go. I was on
We all have
Substack.
our own opinions.
Right.
I haven't tried it yet for myself.
Mhm.
And I subscribe to too many newsletters. And
Mhm.
on Gmail, I have a reading folder and a marketing folder. And I have it set up so that it shows me which folder I normally file it into. So then I
Mhm.
just click and file it. And at some point I'll go back and read
Yeah.
things that come in, and every now and then the authors will say, and they sometimes marketing, so they're not necessarily an author, but they it's all writing related. They'll say, "Oh, do you still want to be on the newsletter?" And I think partially, sorry to delay your rant of Substack, quite looking forward to that. Is that depending on there's John, depending on um, Uh, John, will you just put in the chat with? Oh, hello. You can say whether you'd like to join us or not. Hello,
Hi.
John. Hi.
Well,
One of New Street authors. Um, you've come in at the right time actually, because Eric's going to have a mini or major rant about Substack. But we're
okay.
just talking about the fact that I subscribe to a lot of writing related newsletters, whether it's just information or marketing.
Yeah.
And every now and then, because I don't interact, I get an email saying, "Are you still interested?" Because Eric has about 750 subscribers.
Right.
And I know that there are bands, certainly within MailChimp, I don't know if it's the same within Patreon, where if you go over, say, 500, it costs you more money. If you go over 1,000, it costs you more money.
Mhm.
And so on. John, do you have a newsletter? Do you subscribe to newsletters?
I subscribe to lots and lots of newsletters
Mm,
online, Facebook as well as LinkedIn.
right.
I did subscribe to Substack, but I cancelled it because I just wasn't using it.
Right.
How to use it, I think was the better phrase. Mhm.
Okay.
So that's why I thought I'd join tonight. I might be able to pick up some tips.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Well,
So,
you're very welcome to stay on camera and join in whenever
okay.
whenever you like.
Yep.
But yes, Eric was saying that Substack is. Well, I shall hand over to you to tell us all about the
So
joy the joy
I
that
was on I
Substack.
was on Substack back when it was new and cool. I guess going on 2 years ago, maybe longer.
Mm,
And my first probably 150, 200 subscribers were via Substack. And I first started looking for another place to go with the Nazi controversy, which you might not know about. Again, it was a good 2 years ago.
okay.
Um, they had platformed several outspoken U.S. white supremacist MAGA type people,
Right.
and their reaction to people asking them about it was the very very American free speech, blah blah blah. We don't care.
Mm,
And what people pointed out, and this wasn't the only reason I left, is what Substack relies on is a network effect. So if I had a Substack, you both had a Substack, we could recommend each other, we could reshare emails and all that. And somebody went back and looked and saw that many of these Nazis were being kind of lifted by people on Substack that were allegedly there for news.
right.
And Substack was a very Muskian free speech, blah blah blah.
Mm,
And what that did do is it had me look at the other things that I don't like about Substack that I'll rant about. I won't just do the anti-Nazi rant.
mm,
And that is, like I said earlier, there's no mechanism in Substack to integrate with other tools. So if you want to give a subscriber a free novella or a free book, there is no way to do that. You're
right.
going to have to manually go in and email that to the person. So if you go on holiday for 2 weeks and people sign up, there's no way to do it.
Mm,
There's no easy way to do the list swap thing that I spoke about with BookFunnel. I think any genre writer needs to look at BookFunnel very hard because it's very easy to register interest in promotions that are run by other BookFunnel subscribers. So there's one author who I've read like 5 of her books now, independent author, that I not only found via BookFunnel, but now participate in her promotions. Her name, I don't know what her actual name is, but she writes under C. Gockel, Gockel. She's
Okay.
almost always running a promotion. And I think I've gotten 20 subscribers from one of her promotions in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they are science fiction readers.
That's the thing. You can't really diversify, because I write crime and women's fiction, and yes, there's a bit of an overlap.
Well, you could register interest in all those promotions.
Yeah.
And then if you have different giveaways, you could say, okay, if I'm going in the romance or whatever promotion, I'm going to give them my Adam and Eve book. If I'm going to go in a crime thriller, I'm going to give them my Sherlock Holmes pastiche, whatever it might be.
Sure. Yeah.
Either way, it's there's nothing like that in Substack. Substack has a network effect, but you're hanging out with somebody who used to write for the New York Times, and somebody who's an anthropologist, and somebody who might write crime fiction. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as a author who's maintaining an email list in order to find readers, Substack's the wrong tool.
Yeah.
Now, I do see authors that have both. So I think Substack is more of a blog than an email list.
That's the impression I get.
Right.
I have a writing group later on this evening in the next town over, and one of I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, there was 2 ladies who had collaborated on a book about women in history, and they have a podcast. I can't remember. I should remember what it was called, but they have a podcast, and their podcast is on Substack.
Right.
And I have a little podcast called 300 Words a Day, which at the moment is only on Spotify. And I have 4 subscribers. And when I had 1 subscriber, it said you can expect, the total number of subscribers you can expect is 4. So I reached my original maximum, or anticipated maximum, and now I've got 4. They've upped it to, you could possibly get 60, because it's very short. It's literally a prompt, and then it splits it down into who, what, where, when, why, and how to look at that prompt. And it's literally 2 minutes long. And so I was really interested when they said that they use Substack, which then farms it out. But that's a podcast. So whether that's...
Well, and I was going to say...
It's audio.
No, since I've left, Black Country Radio.
Yeah, it's Lee. He's
that's not the US? That's not
one of John's... It's near Birmingham, about sort of the middle of the country.
Now, since I left Substack, they've gone into multimedia. They have video, they have podcast, and again, that's great, but that's not selling books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hola from Spain.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás esta noche? Esta tarde.
Absolutely spiffing, thank you.
Good.
Sorry, Eric, I'm overshouting him. Just thought to say hello.
Oh, okay. But I'm ranting. I'm on a rant.
Ranting about Substack.
No, we're ranting so much. But that's another example of, if you're going into that sort of thing, the sharing video, and I didn't know that their podcasts aggregate. If they aggregate and they send you to Apple and Spotify and Overcast, then that might be a great platform. But it doesn't have the focus that I'm talking about. So it's not that I dislike Substack as much as for an author. And I have to say, my biggest problem with it, and I don't know how many I read. I read several, and there are a few that I do read every day. There's a political historian, political commentator historian, Heather Cox Richardson, that I read every night. And I'm actually paying for her. When you sign up for a Substack, it's a good 6 or 7 clicks.
Right.
And I think, again, as an author, if you go to any best practices, you pay for any seminar about an email list, they're going to talk about low friction. And it's like, oh, you want to read Morgan Bailey. Oh, well, how about these other 5 people you've never heard of? And oh, do you want to give her some money even though you've just heard of her 5 minutes ago? And how about this? And how about that? That's not how it should be. It should be, I want Morgan Bailey's free mystery.
Yeah.
And I'll decide if I want to keep reading her after she sends me an email next week.
Exactly. Well, there's a lady called Orna Ross, based in the UK, who runs Ally.
I'm a member. Yeah.
And I went on her, so I subscribed to her newsletter, and there was a link to which I thought, well, I was paying £48, so I guess about $60 to subscribe to the whole of Substack. But I've now paid her £48 to subscribe to Orna Ross's Substack for a year.
Right.
And I get it will be extra content and probably seminars that I wouldn't get as a non-paying. But it really wasn't clear that because although she came up, it was sort of a side option, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll sign up to Substack and pay this and get the extras that I'm likely to get. So I was a bit miffed. I didn't unsubscribe because she's really useful. She's for the independent author. She's wealth of the whole of Ally is wealth of knowledge.
Yep.
But yeah, it wasn't very clear that was what I was signing up to. So I was a little bit miffed about it. But.
I mean, when they were first growing, and I guess they're still doing it now, you were reading about people making $1 million a year on Substack, and there are people doing that.
Right.
But I do think they're mostly journalists. It's become the home for people fired by American media because of Trump.
Right.
A lot of people from the Times, a lot of people from CBS are there now. And again, but they're in a different business than we are.
Because a lot of the newspapers now are going over to subscription only, like the Times here, where if you and of course it's clickbait on Google. It's they come up with this juicy, like, you have to do this, and then it turns out, well, actually, if you're interested in it, you should do it, but not that you have to do it. And so you get the intro with a picture, and then it says, if you want to read any more, you've got to subscribe. And that's where that's the way things seem to be going. And I notice a lot of apps now have gone from the once in a lifetime, lifetimes one-off to
a monthly or annual subscription. And one last dig at Substack. Even the people that are writing there for money. Like again, I've mentioned Simon Jones a few times. You should look him up. I wonder if you'd be curious.
I will. Yes, I will.
He writes short fiction, or not short fiction, serial fiction on Substack, and I'm paying for him. But either before I started paying for him or another author gave away a chapter for free.
Okay.
And that's something you want to do, right? Again, just like the list magnet or something, you might want to give something away for free to your subscribers. And when I got it and I clicked on the link, they said, oh, you need to download the app.
Okay.
And that was Substack getting between me and that person. Kind of similar to what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I want to give this for free.
Can I ask, what app is it that you're already a member and subscribed to Substack?
Yes.
And you clicked on a link. So what was the app that they wanted you to download?
They wanted me to download the Substack app. I'm old-fashioned. I read my email on my desktop computer. So I was reading my email in Mozilla Thunderbird, because I'm really weird. And it immediately took me, opened up my browser and took me to the Google Play Store to download the Substack app. So first of all, I'm sitting at a desktop. And second of all, I don't want your damn app. I want to read email. I am over 60.
On a big
I want to read email.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And again, whereas with Patreon that I'm using, so to me, I have two silos. I have my email list, which I use a provider called Button Down. I'm not even advocating Button Down. I would say if you're going to do email lists, find an email provider. Use MailerLite, use MailChimp, use Button Down.
Yeah.
If you want a bloggy sort of thing, Ghost is at least better suited for you controlling your relationship with your readers than Substack.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them out. There's another one that authors really love.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it.
That's okay.
I happen to use Button Down. It's a very programmer friendly thing. I'm a programmer.
And does Button Down, like MailerChimp and MailerLite, charge you per, say, once you reach a certain number of subscribers?
That's banded. Yeah, we call that banded pricing. I think so, but I think I am paying for them, and it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But I paid right away because I wanted the integrations. And again, I like the toys. If you're just starting out, the free tier of Mailer Lite, which is probably up to 100 or 1,000 readers, is probably perfectly adequate.
Right.
I'll give you advice, but you don't want to model my behavior. I'm weird. I've literally written integrations for
we like weird. Aren't
yeah.
all writers weird?
Yeah, right.
Speaking of which, I'm going to go to Lee now. In Spain, hopefully, I don't know whether you're in a restaurant or I've had some background noise earlier.
We've just walked back up the hill, so I'm just
well
in a
done.
little room.
Okay,
yeah,
well
just
done.
got back home.
Lee, do you have a newsletter? Do you run a newsletter? Because you write different things, poetry, children's stories.
Yeah. Maybe I should. I do post on Substack occasionally. I do post on some of the other ones, and I am promoting a film of one of my children's books, which is in for the Birmingham Film Festival.
Okay.
But I don't do emails like, hey, Abbott or anything. I just go, oh, God, I have no idea.
Time consuming.
I am reading on TikTok and doing bits of chapters and building up followers that way. Please comment and stuff. But it sounds like hard work. It really does.
Yeah, I think the thing that puts some people off is that they think they've got to come up with something new each week or each month. I think once a month. I don't know how often is your newsletter, Eric?
That's an interesting question. I have recently moved to weekly.
Okay.
And I was thinking about that earlier. So I used to do monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting was when it was monthly, I would be agonizing 2 weeks in advance. Oh my God, what am I going to write about?
Right.
And I moved to bi-weekly sort of accidentally because I had a couple of things to write about. Like I put out an email when I appeared on a couple of these. I have appeared on a couple podcasts. I'd say, hey, I was on so-and-so's podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm going to a book festival Sunday, and I probably should tell my readers about that, although it's the middle of nowhere, New Jersey.
Don't you put that on your website, on your feed? Because I do that on my website.
I might put it on my website. I might put it on my website. I definitely will put it on social media. My website is moribund. I don't think people go to websites the way they did 15 years ago. But and then I was doing bi-weekly, and I did sign up for some marketing courses with a company over here, Ink to Influence, and I had like a coach, like part-time assigned to me for marketing, and she actually said that should have been 2 emails, and made a compelling case for I should have sent an email about the podcast appearance, and I should have sent the email, I think, when I announced my Patreon. And I thought about that, and I was like, if I go to one thing per email, it takes the pressure off. Right? Now I need to send an email. It's Thursday. I sent my last email Friday. I can send an email out. It's only 100 words. And it takes the pressure off the reader because, like you talked about earlier, you get these newsletters, you put them in a folder, and you're like, when I have time to read 400 words, I'll go read them. And that's 2036. And you haven't read those 400 words yet. So I do think that there's a case for smaller, more frequent emails.
Short and sweet.
And I think that it also, there's kind of a verification. If they don't want to hear that you were on a podcast, why are they subscribed? Go ahead, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
See ya. I'd rather have 500 fans than 4,000 people that are like, God, it's him again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a podcast interviewing authors. There's about 100 interviews up there now, which is have a radio show every week. And I transfer the show, because I can't put the music up, to the Listen with Lee podcast on Spotify, and ask even for the authors to subscribe, whatever. And nobody seems to want to do it. But we listen to it. We're listening to it. I said, just subscribe. It's free. And you just think, but my problem is people have known me for so many years for doing different things, being in a band, being a gallery owner, doing all this sort of stuff. It's like, yeah. Well, we like you. We like you. And I'm thinking, no, just hit like, subscribe. It gets the numbers up. It gets frigging bots or whatever it is. How do you get round that?
Yeah.
There's the problem I face.
Yeah, that's what the problem I have with my Patreon, my Facebook.
So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, my Facebook will have thousands of views, and I've got 138 subscribers. I'll get an email from or a notification from Facebook. Your photos get 800% more views. And I'm like, 800. 800% of 138 people. What are we talking about here? And I do think that is a newer phenomenon. And I'll say I'm guilty too. There's 4 or 5 YouTubers I watch weekly, and it wouldn't occur to me to hit subscribe because YouTube does such a good job of telling me that so and so put something up there. I don't need to click subscribe.
Yeah.
We can't wait, can we?
But it's like Amazon. Once you get to the 50 reviews of a book, then Amazon takes notice. And I'm sure YouTube and the likes are the same, that once you have 100 subscribers or whatever, that YouTube will all of a sudden, and I think because people make a lot of money from YouTube if adverts run on it. And if you're a nobody and you get no views and you don't put content on it, you're never going to make. There's kind of a level you'd have to really hit to make any money, decent money out of YouTube. But it seems to have come of its own the last few years. I know we've gone off track a bit. But newsletters, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was something to do with Brian Cohen, who runs Amazon Ads. And Helen A. Abbott, I know she's with Brian. And it's been said numerous times in that group, if nothing at Author Ad School, that the newsletters are the best way to liaise with your reader, because if Facebook goes, if Substack goes, etc., you've still got your newsletter. And you are, even if people they're not clicking it, because if I get all mine in through a Gmail account, and I can when I get a load, I'll click a button, a box at the top, which then highlights everything, and I'll go mark as read, and then I file them all. So it may come up. I don't know if it comes up so that I've actually opened it. I doubt it, because I haven't physically opened it.
No, it doesn't. No.
But to me, it just goes in a folder. So every now and then I get are you still wanting this?
So to put my programmer hat on, the way they know you've read it is if you load the HTML, and there's usually an invisible image, and it's the request to load that invisible image that tells them it was marked read.
Right.
So and many mail clients no longer do that automatically to protect your privacy. So to be honest, your open statistics are never going to be very accurate.
Yeah.
You can look at them. I would look at them as a trend, but you can't sit there and go, "Oh, good, 246 people read my email."
Yeah.
That's the number
Eric,
I saw left.
Question: with then your mail outs and all this sort of stuff, have you taken out liability insurance, etc.? Because you're not allowed to store emails from people, are you? The rules of collating and gaining information dictates that I think you have to subscribe or pay something. Was it EDA? What's it called?
GDPR, General Data.
GDPR. So your provider needs to be GDPR compliant, which Button Down is, and that works with how they subscribe. When you subscribe, there's I think both of it's a double opt-in, so they have to ask to subscribe, get an email, and then click on that.
Right.
And then, but you are correct that if downloading the backup to your local computer probably incurs some sort of liability. And that's another reason why I do trust Button Down, and I don't download my list from them. Whereas with Substack, I was doing that.
Right.
And just one other thing. So what you're saying, Morgan, about the advice from people like, was his name Brian Cohen?
Brian Cohen. Yeah.
Brian Cohen. And then Orna, I'm sure, says the same thing, because I used to listen to her podcast. Yes, the newsletter is your relationship with your reader. And that's why, again, a service like Substack is, to me, no different from Facebook in that respect, that they're between you.
Right.
I mean, I'm waiting for Elon Musk to buy Substack. They're buddies. And seeing them
free Tesla with every email.
yeah. But if you make them mad, they'll give you 2 Teslas.
Yeah.
2 Cybertrucks. Like when they came up with the Substack notes as a competitor for Twitter and going into video and all that, I see them as being more interested in competing with Facebook and X and Instagram and Snapchat and all them than being an email service provider. Whereas if you go to not MailChimp anymore, but MailerLite, Button Down, insert service here. You're paying for one thing and that's it.
You recommend Button Down, do you? Sorry, Morgen, I'm interrupting.
Oh, so you carry on. No.
I mean, I like them a lot. I was said before you got here, I picked them because they have a lot of integration, bells and whistles that you might not need. MailerLite seems to be what I think I'm paying. I think I'm paying about $180 a year,
Okay.
which is a lot. And especially for the number of readers I have. But again, the integrations and the style, and I personally like the guy. He cropped up when Substack was getting unpopular.
Did you recoup that in sales?
Probably last year I did, and this year I probably already have.
Oh wow!
But I hit 80 reviews on my first book, and that's when things took off, like Morgen just said. So now I'm only losing money on pay. Now to get back, by the way, Patreon, by the way, does not charge you anything.
Okay.
With Patreon, they might have a premium tier. I'm not paying for it. Patreon takes a percentage of people that pay you.
Okay.
That's why them introducing the notion of free subscribers was a big deal, because they're not making money on those subscribers.
Sure.
But Patreon is not banded. It's more or less banded where the more you make, the more they make.
I thought that was more music, bands, and everything orientated. Even like Gary Newman set up a Patreon. You could order pushing all the time at every concert, and he sends you out freebies now and again. But obviously they're harvesting.
Gary Newman is on there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm old enough to know who he is. Here in my car.
Well, I know Patreon from podcasts, so it's obviously a wide net, and it's very well respected, isn't it, Patreon?
I follow several authors on there. I initially got into Patreon through cartoonists. Big thing for cartoonists.
Right.
Why is Gary Newman not on Bandcamp, where I follow Peter Gabriel and John Carpenter?
You might, I don't know.
But it's to me, that's where you go to share content, and I think it's better than Substack in that case, that it's a more intimate relationship.
So what do you share on your Patreon then, Eric?
I am doing a chapter a week from my newest book.
Okay.
And another author who I like a lot, Rebecca Thorne, just started doing it like 2 weeks after me. She's much larger than I am, so I felt kind of vindicated when I saw her do it.
Are you doing that audio, or are you doing that on words? What are you doing?
Just word. Nobody wants to hear my Jersey.
Because I'm doing what you're doing, reading with nice backgrounds, half a chapter of my new book coming out in June on TikTok to see if I'm getting any response on that. I'm putting certain keywords. You know, I have 5 hashtags now. I put English accent because Americans love English accent, and Caribbean and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm doing it as words, and I've got a dozen, I think, subscribers in. I think chapter 4 went up Monday, so 4 weeks.
The Patreon's free,
Patreon, and that's free tier. And what I was saying before, for $3 you can go back more than 3 weeks in the archives, and the only reason that's $3 and not one is it's a $3 minimum, probably because of what they're paying MasterCard and Visa and American Express. They need to make it a certain minimum. And that's like an experiment.
A Word file or a PDF you putting up, Eric?
Sorry?
Is it just a Word file or a PDF file you put in?
It's actually like a blog post. I've considered adding a PDF, but I don't know if people want random 1,200, 2,500 word PDFs.
Right.
I'm still playing around with the format. Now that this other author, Rebecca Thorne, is doing it, I immediately subscribed to her, and I'll be watching her very closely, and I'll mimic her as soon as I see a pattern, because she's really good she's big on TikTok and Instagram too. And
there are so many platforms these days that it's almost I've now got into a routine where I'm writing until midday, and then if I can carry on writing, I will. Otherwise, I'll be going off and doing other stuff, work and so on. And I just think we could spend we've said this for years, really, that we could spend our entire lives going on to all these platforms. I mean, you've got to love copy and paste, because I'm forever copying and pasting from one thing to another. But it's kind of, you have to find your niche and have to find what works for you, but you don't know what works for you until you try everything. It's really tricky.
Yeah. I'm trying to pick the platforms where I think my readers are. I think my readers trend older which is why I'm not on TikTok, and I'm on Facebook. I loathe Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm only on Instagram because apparently that's where everybody goes. But I'm finding with Instagram is where I'm meeting other authors, and that is useful. So I will go there to meet them.
Mm.
I'm kind of hoping that I can herd them at least toward my email list and maybe toward Patreon as I find them.
Yeah.
But what I'm writing is going to tend toward older men. That what Malcolm Gladwell calls dadstalgia. We hit around 45 and all we care about is history.
Right.
And that's kind of the stuff I write.
Well, I tried TikTok about 6 months ago, and I think I posted 5 videos. When I came up with the idea of Self Pub Fest, I then posted no, it was the author spotlights actually pre Self Pub Fest. I think when I had 27, I'm up to 73. I'm doing 74th tomorrow, and it got quite a few views, which was lovely. 1 or 2 comments, I think. And then I hadn't done anything for about 6 months. Came back to it about 4 or 5 months ago, and I was recording videos when I was out walking the dog. Just about anything that was on my mind. It wasn't necessarily writing related. And I was going to do a week's worth, and I think I did 5 days and went to see how they were getting on. And I then spent 2 hours that evening blocking all the, no offense, Eric, but American widowed army majors, surgeons.
I was not an officer. I was only a non-commissioned officer, so it's none of my people.
No. And I spent 2 hours blocking all these people who would say, "Oh, you're so gorgeous," and how lovely, and just nothing to do with the content. And yes, and I haven't done anything since. They're still up.
I think, yeah. I mean, in TikTok's defense, I think that's everywhere because I get women.
Yeah.
But I'm getting women in there I'm getting photos of women.
Okay.
In their 20s, and the tip off on Instagram is it's a private account. So you're supposed to believe that they won't share their stuff with anything but you, special man.
Absolutely.
Who but that's the other downside of social media is it's the garbage internet, bots talking to bots.
Mm.
But what else do we have, right?
John, do you have a favorite newsletter? Do you just subscribe to writing related, or there's a purpose behind? And what would make you subscribe? Of course, you're going to go after this. You're going to go and subscribe to Eric's.
Right. I don't know. I subscribe to all sorts. Music, mainly. Right. Yeah, music.
And how often would you want to hear from whoever you subscribe to, or how often do you hear?
I keep coming in, and I either look at it or delete it or
right,
whatever. So, I mean, I've tried to get an email list together, but wasn't very successful.
No, because you've got to have a platform and be on there regularly enough to. I just get them from my website.
I mean, I'm fairly new.
Every now and then.
3 years, just heading towards the 4th year, so it's all brand new to me.
Yeah,
being an author, right. So I'm just still learning. Hence, joining New Street Authors, and I've been to another one today, Castle Writers, and they're all, no disrespect, elderly women writing poems.
Okay.
No, fair enough, but poetry ain't my bag. But they're quite interested in what I do. So I gave a little speech today on how I thought about my latest piece of work, which is ended up being a trilogy with a companion guide at the end.
Mm.
So
this is your wizard one.
No, this is
something else.
A different one called Tattoo.
The one with the perfume bottle on the cover.
No, that's the perfume bottle.
Okay.
Again.
You are prolific.
But I mean, Eric doesn't know, but I've started to write. When we were in COVID and shut down, my daughter started to make little clay model heads, and she did Vikings and various wizards and Lord of the Rings figures.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write some words down. I thought I could make a book about this, or a short story. And that short story is now turned into 10 books.
Wow.
I've 3 published, 1 3/4 published, and I'm working on all the others bit by bit.
Sure.
The last book, where I can't tell you about it because it all happens or it doesn't.
Okay.
Right.
We will
Or,
have to buy it to find out.
you've got to read the 9 first.
Yes, absolutely.
But the unusual thing about it is the first 7 books all happen in the same timeline.
Okay.
So you can come in at book 1, book 7, book 4, books. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The first chapter in every book is the same because it's a sorcerer in the sky beaming down to different coloured wizards or trios, red, same colours of the rainbow. But what they do with each chapter is they're educational, hopefully for children to read and learn, but they're knowing that they're learning when they're reading. So there are keywords in the first chapter and they change. So I've got 7 first chapters the same, but keywords are different.
Okay.
So they're not getting the same in effect. And there's quizzes and all sorts of things going on.
Yeah.
Summarizing poems, short versions for memory. So what happened there? It's listed. Move on to chapter 2. So that's that's the one set. That's what I started with. Then I did the perfume bottle, which is a weird thing, I think. Sparked by my mother's perfume bottle, which I found in my dad's stuff after he died 2 years ago. Never knew it existed.
Wow.
And the third one is this new one I'm doing. I mean, I've got others on the go as well, but this is I'd like to turn it into a graphic novel as well. I can.
Oh yes.
Oh.
So I'm trying to, this is all knocked up in AI just to give me an idea to see whether it would work. I'm trying to find you can probably see me down the side there. I'm trying to find a young graphic artist who would like to collaborate with me to do it. So it's all.
Well, Lee is the person to speak to about art.
Oh, okay. So if I write the book, I'd either like to put that upside down at the back so they've got 2 books, or do them 3 separate books.
Yeah, quite often you get is it manga, that where you have one at the back and one at the front.
That sort of style, DC style or manga or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all just, it's all.
Oh wow.
So
putting a real artist out of business. There you go.
Yeah.
I haven't put anybody out of business yet because I've not done it. I'm just getting the ideas.
Exactly. You're getting the ideas. Now, for that, I agree, but then you should try and draw it, because the problem is there's so many people doing exactly the same, because there are so many books doing exactly the same illustrations, and actually becomes boring. But then there are a lot of sheep people out there that don't mind just the same thing. You got to be different. I mean, you suffer for it, but I've always believed in being unique with your art styles. I've got 4 or 5 different artists working on all my children's books. You got to hit the right feel for what you're doing and the right age group. But to me, with mass marketing and everything wanting to look the same, like when manga came out, or the stupid children's animated stuff, you're disrespecting the intellect of a child by showing them really pretty naff image work, and you just want to have that edge to get a following. It's like having had an art gallery for 14 years and being a sales director of an art gallery for 15 years. It's being that bit different so that other people will copy you, not you end up doing the same thing and being lost in the myriad of millions of people doing exactly the same thing.
The old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
True.
But I think for some people it's cost.
Yeah.
If it costs a lot of money, and you have to have faith in employing people to
it's a relationship. Working with an artist is a relationship. Really, it's not just draw this for me.
6 images from there. The cheapest I've found is £20 an image. So that's £120 a page.
Yeah.
One chapter is 12 pages. Multiply that up.
Wow.
So
Lee, what are you in the? I know you're looking at getting a newsletter, but what kind of thing do you subscribe to? Your newsletter?
I've just subscribed to this chap called Eric Goebelbecker on his Patreon.
Is he any good?
I haven't read that far yet. I just heard it while we were going there. I do subscribe to some YouTube channels because I like visualization. I find if people waffle me with load of reading, I haven't got time to do it. I'm being dyslexic. I don't care for it. It's like, yeah. Thank you very much. It must be short, sweet. I've learned that myself. Short, sweet. That's interesting. Thank you very much. Maybe a picture, maybe a little bit of information. What are you noticing more and more now? I put a picture of, because I'm out with friends, I've got this beautiful dog. It's a form of a not a Springer, but it's a Charleston Springer, and it's called a Bow or something Springer. And I just put a picture of that, and I just put "look in my eyes," and
Oh,
I've had more hits on that than putting up
you,
6 different chapters of my book. So
you
I
can
rest my case.
win with dogs. Yes, dogs and cats.
Dogs and bloody cats.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's funny. That's funny. I'm a part-time dog trainer, and a lot of my traction on social media
Would be
is
with animals.
pictures of my students, and it's
Put a
amazing.
picture of your dog. Put a picture of your dog reading your book, and you might get some, more attention.
Ooh, why didn't I think of
There's
that?
an
My
idea
sister
for
does
you.
that. My sister's a very successful romance author, and
Yeah.
her Facebook is basically about her cats. She's
Right.
one cat short of crazy cat lady.
Wow.
Bonkers, isn't it?
See, I'm in a way. I'm I don't know about 2 steps forward, but because I write crime fiction, women's fiction, and non-fiction about writing, that's 3 newsletters. And so my form has, do you want to sign up to one of these, 2 of these, or all 3? And I do say that I won't produce more than one per topic each month. So that's 3 newsletters per month. And as you say, they don't have to be very short, and not necessarily, certainly not go and buy my book. When you've got a new book,
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
My new book's out. I'm very proud of it. I've done a blog tour. I had these lovely comments, that kind of thing. And then people sign up to newsletters because they're interested in you and your
Right.
writing, your book. Otherwise,
Yeah.
why sign up to it? The marketing newsletters I sign up to, I do that because I'm interested in forwarding my author career by learning various tools about marketing, and I see them as an expert in their field, in theory. So I think it's what do we want to get out of it, and what do we want to provide as a service from our newsletters. Kind of entertain, and if they buy a book in the process, that would be great.
Yeah, when I first met Helen A. Abbott, and
Mm.
she goes, "Well, I subscribe to this, I subscribe to that, and I got 1,400 of this." And I said to her, having come from a retail background from the age of 6 and nearly 70, "How many books have you sold, Helen?"
Mm.
She goes, "What? How many books have you sold from all that effort
Yeah.
and building up emails?" Fine. Well, I did 14 years of having emails in the early days of when I had a gallery. How
Mm.
many of those sales could you generate into sales? Because if you're in the retail world, every penny bloody counts, no matter what you're spending out. And the rate is maybe 1 in 1,000, 1 in 100. You've got to harvest a shed load of emails. But
Yeah.
if you're having an intimate relationship, well, then somebody will come out after the 10th email and say to you, "Oh, well, my wife's writing a book," or this and that. And you just think, "Oh, you could have saved me the time."
No.
You're never going to buy a book. And actually, at my age, getting nearer 3 score and 10, I don't care. I know it's wrong, but it's
The
like,
thing,
I'd rather do a video and see
if you
somebody
use
and buy my
something,
book.
going back to something Eric said earlier on, was that when you get the statistics, if you use something like MailChimp or MailerLite or whatever, you see your click rate, and as he said, it's not going to be particularly accurate, but it's then nice to see, because if you sell a book on Amazon, you don't know who's bought it until they leave a review. You don't know who's bought it, and you don't know what they think of it. But if you post about a dog and you have twice as many opens and maybe a comment and maybe an email every now and then, I have 1,000 and something subscribers to my blog, and I post a writing prompt on a picture on a Sunday, and word count Wednesday to say how I've been getting on a Wednesday, and I have one person, Jackie Lambert. I only ever have her. It's literally once in a blue moon that anybody else will like or comment, and it's her every week without fail, regardless. And she travels all over the world she writes books about her journeys in a former army truck that's now a camper van. And she is my one and only who I can rely on. In fact, if it gets to Thursday and she hasn't commented, then I know she's stuck somewhere with no internet. And then Thursday or Friday comes along and she's liked and commented, and saying how she's getting on as well, because that's what the post encourages. And that's out of over 1,000 subscribers. So you're not wrong.
No.
when you have 1,000 subscribers and you have one person buying a book.
Well,
And
the
out of
theory,
maybe 100 posts. So, but yeah, exactly.
I
It's
think
great, isn't it?
the way retail doesn't map in, because I ran a dog training business years ago in Jersey City, and I could almost post a class, say on my Facebook page, got a new class starting Thursday, and I would get 1 or 2 signups almost immediately. But that was the early aughts, and Facebook wasn't as crowded, and it was much more sequential than algorithmic. The thing now is, like you said, you want to have an email list so you can say, I have a new book coming out next Tuesday, or I have a new book coming out in August. Please pre-order. But if I get their email address, I don't tell them anything for 6 months. And the first time they hear from me is buy from me.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe, unsubscribe,
Absolutely.
unsubscribe, unsubscribe.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So I've got to tell them, I show them pictures of the bike trip I did through Europe last year, pictures of the bike trip I'm going to do in Maine next month, pictures of the adorable Maltipoo that I did scent work with last week.
Yeah.
They feel like they know me, and I'm not just trying to get them to buy stuff from me.
Exactly.
So I think the ROI on these newsletters, I don't know if you could ever get a really comprehensive, accurate formula. So what I'm trying to do is try to make it, I don't want to say low effort, because that's a pejorative with the kids these days, but a little bit of effort. Can I get 150 words out this week about something mildly interesting that I'm doing? And I have to say the book funnels are a good thing for that too, that I was talking about before, those list promos, because now I can talk about another science fiction author. And that's useful. They subscribe to me because I write science fiction, and I'm telling them, hey, here's another independent author that Amazon will never tell you about because she only has 47 reviews.
Yes.
Please
give her another 3.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think that's the thing. The thing is, because we write, on average, writers produce a book a year, and obviously there are some slower, some quicker. Once your reader has read your book, they've then got another 360 days before you produce another one. So you slip off the radar. So having little and often keeps you on their radar. And it's very much about finding, and we've said this often in these panels, about it's not, yes, it's the book. You want to write a really good book and have something we're proud of. But it's people finding out that actually we're really nice, we love what we've written, and we're very proud of the characters that we've created, and we love our products, but we're really nice people, and we're interesting to subscribe to and meet and so on, which is why I do the panels and the author spotlights, because it's building up a relationship, which is what I think really is what newsletters are all about. Whether it's via, there'll be is there a nickname for Substack that in Eric's opinion, that's because there are some like what's it? Not Facebook. There's a face ache, and I've heard variations of of Facebook, and so there's bound to be one of derogatory of Substack.
I haven't heard one. I mean, not since the Nazi thing.
Right. But I think it's just, we have to try everything, don't we? And be consistent and just keep plodding.
For me, it's about suitability to task, and trying to write a newsletter, monetize a newsletter, and trying to write novels for money. I mean, maybe you can do that. I certainly don't have the wherewithal, and I keep coming back to what my old sensei used to say: chase 2 rabbits, catch none.
Right.
I'm trying to write books. I'm trying to sell books.
Yeah.
So even the Patreon is there in service of letting people know that I have a book.
Yes. Because ultimately, yes, we I'm sure all of us write to be read. We'd if we had to give a book away, I'd rather give a book away to know that somebody's going to read it, than sell a book and it sits on their Kindle or sits on their shelf and is never read. And then what's the point really of them having it? So it's nice to think that people are interested and that serves its purpose.
Morgen, I've put a few with these telephone boxes that suddenly become libraries.
Yes. Well, this is actually part of the reason why I set up Self-Pubfest, apart from to help self-published authors, was the fact that I knew we had a really good reading community in Aylesbury area, because I have a list of about 30 in different villages and towns. There are about half a dozen in Aylesbury itself. It's supposed most of them are book swaps. Certainly the ones that I've put in the local stations, entitled book swap. So in theory, people are supposed to bring a book and take a book, or take a book and bring a book back next time. But it's lovely when I get an email from somebody who said, I spent my commute, I spent my commute on social media, bored rigid, nothing else to do, but it's got me back into reading. And so I think exactly. That's what it's all about. So whether it's via Substack remains to be seen. But I think we just have to plod on and love what we do.
How many subscribers on your Patreon, Eric?
13 now, lucky 13, like
Really?
your picture.
Lee the 13th.
Yeah. Right. No, it tends to be a lower volume type of service. Like I was looking, the one author I really like, Rebecca Thorne, she's got 67.
Okay.
There's an artist I follow, Roger Langridge, great, amazing artist. I think he has 250. I'm sure there's heavyweights out there that have more. What Patreon has recently done, like I said, is they have the free followers now, which I think is huge, right? Because you can low risk go in, follow for a while. If you really like them, you can join. And there's not the pressure that there is with Substack. My Lord. But also
they do bombard you, Substack, don't they? They bombard you. Mind you, everybody's bombarding you. Instagram, Facebook,
right,
Meta, the whole bloody lot, non-stop.
But if you get the background screws that up. That's my phone. If you get the Patreon app, it has a timeline akin to TikTok or Instagram. And there's a new type of post called a quip that a Patreon creator can post. And I have to get better at putting stuff there. And I like it. I think because it's lower volume, it's easy to discover people. And I've discovered several authors, and I love, I'm a manga fan, I'm an anime fan, I'm a comic book fan. And I found a lot of artists through that already, just through that timeline thing. And of course, if it gets popular, it will not be as useful. So I'm going to enjoy it while it's not popular. But Patreon, I think, is trying harder now to make discovery more of a thing. I think it's a good time to join if you have something to share. But again, it's not a replacement for a newsletter. Listen to Orna Ross, listen to Brian Cohen, get a newsletter.
Well, when I accidentally signed up to Orna Ross's paid service, it said that she had 22,000 something subscribers. So if they're all paying £48 a year, she's doing pretty well. But she is a font of all knowledge. So
I mean, and there's a reason. I mean, she's got a following. But I mean, I was talking about it before. It's become a home for laid off journalists. Paul Krugman is an economist, very very liberal, at least in American terms. Very not Republican. They let him go, and another podcaster I listened to did the math. He's probably making more than $2 million a year now on Substack.
Wow.
I'd give everything up to go full time on that, wouldn't you?
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, but you'd have to write about American economics. I mean, he might only last a couple of years.
Right.
That's
$4 million.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to wind down because three of us are going to New Street Authors now. They have and I don't live in the area, so I'm just on Zoom. So people from anywhere can join New Street Authors via Zoom at 7 p.m. on a Thursday evening.
You can practice your English accent, Eric.
I'm stuck with the Jersey accent.
Lee, you introduced a lady the other week, a couple of weeks ago, who was
Laurie Silvers.
Yes.
Phil Silvers' daughter, youngest daughter. Phil
Silvers.
Yeah, his
TV.
youngest daughter, Laurie, lives in Canada now.
Oh.
And with an ex-military man at the moment who was from New Jersey, but he lives in Charleston now. New Jersey, but he lives in Charleston.
Yeah, so we have speakers occasionally.
What is New Street Authors?
Yeah.
What is that?
Contact me and I'll interview you on my radio show. I have a radio show called Listen with Lee on Black Country Extra. It goes out to 10 live on a Sunday for an hour. Pick the music you like, talk about your books. I've done John ages ago. I've done Morgen not so long, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'll do you in about a month or two's time. Then it goes as a podcast. And that's a nice way because it's a human touch and it's not just standard questions and you just have fun.
The only disadvantage with that is that you have to choose 3 pieces of music. And Lee gave me about 3 months' notice, and I took all of those 3 months, bar a couple of days before.
But if Lee follows Gary Newman, then there's a really good chance I'm going to pick stuff he likes.
Okay. Well, not Adele or ABBA. Although
no Adele, no ABBA's allowed. You can play Yes, you can play The Who.
He played Adele for me. He did play Adele.
I know. Did you like that surprise?
I'm on. I did. I was.
Because of the James Bond theme. That was
absolutely. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Lovely to see you, Eric.
Nice, John. Nice to meet you, Eric.
John and Lee.
Yes, I'll reach out. All right.
Take care. We'll see you soon, Eric.
See you.
See you even sooner, John and Lee, in a moment.
Bye. See you on the other side.
Bye. Absolutely.
Thanks again, Morgen.
No worries. Bye-bye.